I'm here to tell you that if you're going to be effective on Craigslist, you need to step up the posting strategy, the frequency. And statistically, it's been proven that the people that use Craigslist to search Monday through Friday, and they search at 3 different times of the day. And they're usually searching Craigslist at work while they're supposed to be working, but they're not really working. And those times are 8 to 9 in the morning, 11 to noon, and 4 to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday. So if you have one Craigslist ad, or any number of Craigslist ads, but let's just use one, if you could repost that ad 3 times a day, 5 days a week, you're going to stay at the top, right? When they search and they find you, you're going to be at the top. What's the problem with that strategy? Does anybody? Right. You have to have 48 hours minimum between postings. So how do you work around that? Well, the way that I've worked around it is I'll take the same ad and I'll repurpose its content about 5 different ways. And I'll have variations of the same ad that I can repost in these different intervals. Also, you can have people that work with you help you with your posting strategies. You can enlist the support of other people at your company to help you post. So it's not just coming from one person's account, from one person's computer, all at the same time. You're going to trigger Craigslist coming out there and pulling your ads. So there has to be a way where you have a strategy to keep your ads top of mind and repost them. At the very minimum, set up a trigger where you go in every 48 hours and repost that ad at a very minimum. Just take advantage of the minimums to get started. And then as you have the ability or the resources to amplify the volume and the frequency, then you can think of other ways of getting multiple ads posted multiple times during the week. Does anybody here post like that now? Any experience doing it that way? No? Okay. So we're going to go through a 10-point master checklist. You should have a copy of that. Did everybody get handouts on the way in? Yeah? No? Lauren? She needs handouts, please. So each ad that you post should have more than one call to action in the content. What would be a call to action? Click here for more information. RSVP here. Call this number for 24-hour information. Those are all calls to action. You want to word your text in such a way that it compels somebody to do something. People are pretty good about following directions if you use the power of suggestion to do so. And when they follow your lead on that call to action, one of the more sophisticated strategies that you can use with Craigslist is when they click through, they have a dedicated landing page for each ad. Let's see if this will open up for us, and I'll show you. So what you see on the screen is what we call a landing page. So the call to action from Craigslist might be, click here to get the list of the most current foreclosure properties in your neighborhood. And so if they click through, they're going to land here. When they land here, this is just a thinly disguised blog. This is actually on a WordPress platform. The secret to effective landing pages are the page's ability to convert. When they land on a landing page, you should have nothing that's off message about the reason why they found your ad and clicked through. In other words, you don't want to have your Facebook like button here. You don't want to have follow me on Twitter. You only want them to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to follow your lead on the ethical bribe, right? Your goal is to capture their email and their name and address so that you can market to them through using cost-effective email. So that's the end game, is to get them to a dedicated landing page. And when they click on that, or when they fill in the information, there's an autoresponder that sends to them within a millisecond what it is that they asked for. And that could be a free report. That could be the 10 questions you must ask before you hire a property manager. Could be anything like that that gives them value, right? The other thing you can do is incorporate video in your landing page. It's a little more of a sophisticated strategy, but you certainly could do that.
This brief video overview, the Smart Buyer Program.
Can't really hear this too well. I don't have my speakers on, but
every minute of this video. First of all, you're going to learn about a new and exciting service that we're offering all.
So the great thing about video is that, number one, people are being conditioned to watch the web instead of read the web. That's why smartphones are so popular. That's why mobile is going so big. That's why tablets are taking off like wildfire. If you can version your marketing and incorporate video as well as text, you're going to take it to the next level. The other positive thing about video marketing is search engine robots love video content. And it amplifies your ability to get your page or your website or your blog ranked higher and indexed by Google and other search engines when you incorporate video. So if you look at this landing page, it's pretty spare, isn't it? It's all business. It's here to convert people. It's here to trade what it is they came for in exchange for their contact information. You want to make sure that you use photos on every single ad if possible. I'll break that rule once in a while, depending on the type of product or service that I'm marketing. Sometimes photos can actually be a distraction, so you have to weigh that out. But on the other side of that is when I'm selling something that's very visual, like real estate, I go off the chart with photos because people buy real estate based on how they feel and the image they get from the photos and the virtual tour and the video that you have. So there's two bookends into using photos or not and using video. So you want to make it really simple and easy for your prospects on Craigslist to give you more information. I happen to incorporate an 800 call tracking system into my marketing, not just with Craigslist, but with my for sale signs and with my print media and with my classified advertising. So if you're not familiar with how that works, I own the number 800-462-7895. And really what this is a sophisticated voicemail system. So along with that main number, I own a dozen or more different extensions. And I can assign an extension to each particular product or service. And then I can assign a source code to that extension for each property or service that I'm advertising. So to illustrate that, if you were to call the main number and hit code 200, 200 is for 123 Main Street, and 201 is for a Craigslist ad. So when somebody puts those digits and makes that call into the system, it notifies me right away on my cell phone, but it also keeps a report and a record. So this allows me to track my marketing, right? Anybody here using any type of system like that now? Okay. So when you track your marketing, you're able to discover what works and what doesn't work. So last year, Joe and I were doing some seminars, some investor property manager seminars here locally. I had a whole series of Craigslist ads that I tested, and I assigned a different source code to each version of the ad, and then I launched my ad campaign through Craigslist. And based on the activity that I was getting on my tracking, that told me which message was most effective. So in a matter of a week or so, I was able to cut out the ads that weren't working and do more of the ads that were working. We talked about having an opt-in form on your website or landing page, and you want to have an easy-to-use contact form that doesn't require a phone number. There's two schools of thought around that. You're more apt to get more people to opt in and give you their contact information if you only require an email and a name. And if you really want the phone number, you can do so, but you're apt to lose more people. So there's a balance. Test a different headline in your ad weekly, and when you don't get any response from the ad, change the headline. So here's another secret about Craigslist headlines. Think about using headlines in terms of keywords. People search for things on Craigslist, on Google, on the internet using keyword search terms. And so the words real estate or property management or house for sale, those are all keywords that people use. So rather than just, in my case, using 123 Main Street as the address, what I'll do is I'll put Pleasant Hill, California real estate for sale / 123 Main Street or something along those lines. Because the beginning of your title are typically the keyword search terms that people are using on Craigslist to find what it is that you're advertising. So there's also what I call a long-term keyword search, or long tail rather. Short tail keyword is real estate. A long tail keyword is I want to buy real estate in California, or find foreclosures in Pleasant Hill. So that long tail has more strings of words to it. So keep in mind that if you were searching for real estate and you went on Google, would you just type in real estate into Google? No, because you'd get a zillion results, right? You would type in the search term closer to home, right? I want to buy a home in Pleasant Hill, or find a home for sale in Walnut Creek. So when you're titling your Craigslist ads, I recommend that you think in terms of search terms and keywords and in specific long-tail keyword phrases. The other thing you want to do, if possible, is follow up with all the leads from your ads within 15 minutes. So that's the best of all cases. Is that practical for a lot of us? Probably not. And that being the case, if you have an 800 number, it's going to notify you the instant that number is dialed. It's going to notify you on a pager, a cell phone, on your email, however you want it to go off, via text messaging. You're going to be notified right away, so if you can respond, you're able to, you know to respond. And then tracking the results of your ads. What ad generated the call? What headline was used for the ad? What product or service ad generated the call? This gets back to testing and tracking your advertising. And that's where the 800 number makes sense and where it can provide those results for you. You want to run the campaign Monday through Friday. And then you want to use a domain name that is related to the product, service, or geographic area of your territory. So in other words, that landing page that I showed you a minute ago with the video on it, the URL or the domain name for it is Contra Costa Property Search. So that term is relevant to where I do real estate, where they're going to find real estate. So if you think in terms of if you have a landing page and you're going to incorporate that URL into your Craigslist ad, try to select one that describes what it is and where it is if geography is important.